And now we're going to move on to case number 637. Who's, Mr. Secretary, would you read that legal notice?
For the picture. Here.
637?
Thank you. Legal notice. Notice is hereby given that a public hearing will be held by the Zoning Board of Appeals on Monday, October 7, 2019 at 7 p.m. at Village Hall, 4000 North Alcott Avenue in the Village of Norridge to consider a petition requesting a special use under the requirements of Article 9-B2 Restricted Shopping Center Business District, Section 5, Special Use of the zoning ordinance of the Village of Norridge for the purpose of operating a drive-through only donut and coffee business on the following described property. Lot 11, 12, 13.
You can just read the address. You have to go through the
Okay.
property.
The property is commonly known as 4914 through 4924 North Cumberland Avenue, Norridge, Illinois. All interested persons should attend and will be given an opportunity to be heard. Signed, Zoning Board of Appeals, Village of Norridge, by Janice J. Magnuson, Chairperson.
Who will present this case for the petitioner?
Good evening. My name is Peter Paraskis. I'm the architect representing the property owner in this matter. Let's see if we can get this for you. The parcel is sandwiched in between the medical center and the automotive oil change drive-through facility to the north. And the proposed project is a drive-through only facility for a Dunkin Donuts. There is no walk-up traffic and there's no seating in the facility. The building size is only 760 some square feet. The balance of the property where the employees would have parking space available for them is all heavily landscaped. The perimeter to the west would have a composite, let me show you that, would have a composite type fencing and refuse enclosure. The rest of the building, see if I can walk you through it. The rest of the building is a hardy plank product, and there'll be minimal glazing. It would be the north, south, west, and east. There is the property. The way the traffic pattern works, as everybody knows, in this location, Cumberland is only one way south and one way north, separated by a median, a large landscape median. So traffic would all be coming from the north, heading south. They would enter in. There'd be more than enough stacking area, menu board, preview board. They'd come around, a pickup window where the transaction would happen would be on the south end, and then they would exit out, and they can only go in one direction. So backing up of any traffic would be highly unlikely heading south and, as they continue. There will be a loading area that would be dedicated for the 2 times that they would receive their delivery. It's a satellite store, so there's no baking on the premises. And then there'll be the employees parking their vehicles on the one side. And then this general area here is all landscaped, heavily landscaped. And there would be a public sidewalk that would come across through North Cumberland. There'll be probably 4 employees at a max, and the hours of operation are from 5 to 10 p.m., so it's not a 24-hour store.
5 p.m. or 5 a.m.?
5 a.m.
To 10 p.m.
That's basically it. It's a product that Dunkin Brands has been pushing for the past year. We've done 3 of these drive-through only facilities, and they worked out rather nicely because in the end, like everybody knows, it's a automotive-driven society, and everybody wants to be able to get in and get out. They do have a current store that's further north on Cumberland. That store is still going to stay. That's slated for remodeling in January or February, I think, of next year. That one will have seating and everything else that goes along with it. So it won't affect this store. It's just primarily to pick up any of their overflow on that side and be able to maintain the traffic pattern that goes to the south. And that's it. So I'll be glad to answer any other questions.
A couple of questions. So seeing how there's no baking on site, deliveries will be just product coming in that's already done,
Yes.
so vans or?
It comes in with, they're small, I'm not going to say minivan, but they're a panel truck.
So no semis or anything like that?
Oh, no, yeah. No,
Okay.
that comes in.
Now, as far as the garbage pickup, what time do you plan on having the garbage pickup?
Well, since it's a drive-through, there's really not much.
Right.
So it'll probably be twice a week,
Okay,
and they'll just come in during the off hours. And there's still plenty of room since there is a bypass lane on the site.
okay.
But
The off hours though, as far as the noise, that would be the thing. It
well, it
should
would
be-
probably be right after lunchtime.
Okay, so it'll
between
be during
12
the
and-
day,
Oh, yeah.
off hours, not
Oh, yeah, no,
closed.
not
Okay.
everything.
Okay.
No.
Now, this drawing I have here, I don't know if this is just a concept one, but this one shows a walk-up. So
Yeah,
this
that
doesn't.
was
this doesn't
way
run
too
through
early. Yeah.
Okay, so that, okay, now, so somebody could still walk up to the
I would-
drive-through window, I guess?
It wouldn't be safe.
I hope, I mean, okay.
We prefer that they get into their scooter. That might be kind
Okay.
of clever.
Okay.
But, that would be it.
I was looking on your diagram here, what about lighting of the parking lot? I didn't really see how you're gonna light the lot up.
Those will all have, there'll be a photometric plan provided. There'll be pole lights with LED. Most of these sites now in most municipalities, there's 0-foot candles at the lot line. So
Okay.
there'll be no burn off or anything past the property line.
Okay, now, overnight when you're closed, would the lights be on all night, or are you gonna turn everything off at night? The parking
Usually
lot?
they'll stay on for
They'll stay
security.
on. Do they dim down at all?
No,
No.
because they're at
Okay,
that
so there wouldn't be
level.
anything but 0-foot
Candles.
candles. It shouldn't be that bright anyways.
They don't.
No.
They
They
don't
don't-
bleed
they don't
beyond
go
the
out.
No, they
perimeter.
don't. No.
Okay. Let's see.
So they would not be visible out in the alley behind the property.
There is no L.
Yeah, there is.
The alley's behind.
Yeah, that behind
Behind.
it, there's no.
To the west.
Now that fence that you showed, that the PVC fence with like the brick look or the block,
Stone look, yes.
that's all the way both sides, right? On the alley side too, it's gonna look like that, or just on the front
Yes,
side?
yes,
So it'll look like that all the way through, and
Yeah.
that's a 6-foot fence.
yes.
Okay.
Does the oil place have a fence behind them?
No.
I don't think they do.
No.
Your garbage refuge area is the only really thing that made a concern of mine. You're not projecting a lot of garbage waste, because I've driven past numerous Dunkin Donuts to look at these areas, and all of their refuge areas are overflowing in the morning at 5 o'clock in the morning. So that's where we're leading into what time are the pickups and that, so that it isn't like that overnight, and that we don't have a pest issue at your property. This is big enough to hold how many containers?
It'll have one container,
Okay.
and like we said, if it's a drive-through facility, so there's really no waste generated on the site. So product, it'd be like the end of the day inventory, which is very minimal. There's no paper to really speak of. So it's not like a typical satellite store that has eggs and all these other byproducts that are there. But if it becomes an issue, they can pick it up 3 times a week if that becomes an issue.
You said it would be end of day inventory. I'm going to assume then that whatever leftover baked goods they would have, they would be in some sort of container before it's thrown into
Yes.
the.
So it's bag sealed and then
Yes,
discarded?
right.
Okay.
But at a store like this, I could tell you, your house would have a bigger bag than what this is because their inventory is pretty small on the drive-through facility. Because they can't have as many donuts. I mean, they'll have enough for what they project for their day based on the other ones that we've done like this. In the beginning, there's an overabundance because everybody thinks they're going to be swamped, and then it never happens. And then after 2-3 weeks, they find out that they got more than enough, and they just cut down their deliveries.
Orders are placed by a means of a speaker.
Yes.
How loud does that speaker, the squawk box get?
The technology on these has changed drastically. Everybody kind of remembers 15-20 years ago with the Jack in the Box or whatever. The technology we all use now, all national brands, whether it's Chick-fil-A, any of the higher end places, even Dunkin. There's settings on that thing that can drive it down, depending on conditions, to within 10 to 15 feet, because that's really all you need to hear. We've done 2 municipalities were questioning it, and I could bring those results in for the building commissioner to see. We did tests with decibel ratings, and you find out that for every 10 feet further you go, you drop close to 60%. So after 20 feet, you technically really couldn't hear it unless it was like a super incredibly quiet evening, but it closes at 10. So there's no reason to worry about that. So to answer your question, the technology has gotten to the point where everybody's sensitive to it, and it's very limited.
If I'm reading the diagrams correctly, the distance from the speaker box to the western wall is about 24 feet,
About 26,
26
27.
feet.
Yes.
and then there is a 16-foot alley on the other side. So that's 40 feet before we even get to the garages.
Well, plus you have the fence along the alley
Plus-
that's gonna
plus you
stop
have
some
the
of the
fence.
sound too, so it's.
I should bring up too, I'm sure most of the younger generation is aware of it. Everything now is mobile apps. So we also have customers that use their mobile apps who will put in their order on their smartphone, and they just pull up, and they don't even use the drive-up menu anymore. For some of the seasoned guys, we still use it. But the younger guys, it's a challenge, so they just plug it in their smartphone and they go in, get in line on the drive-thru, and their order is picked up.
Is there, you said there is a pass-through lane, a bypass lane,
Bypass.
in addition to the actual drive-through lane. Is there any kind of buffering, earthen buffering or vegetative?
There's landscaping on the north and on the south. And there's also, once we can get into some of the detailing on the site engineering with the sanitary district, we're estimating fairly accurately that you're going to get about 2 feet in that rear area by the alley, but that'll probably get picked up by an additional 3. So there probably will be 5 feet of landscaping there.
Thinking shrubbery and bushes? Or?
Oh, yes, yeah, that's typical. Yeah.